If you are watching this video, you must be aware of this diagram, right? So what is happening here? Nothing but weights of a neural network is getting optimized using gradient descent. So this is how weights get optimized, right? So initially, if the weight is, let's say 0.8, one of the weight W1, let's call it, in the next epoch or next iteration, the weight becomes 0.7 or 0.6. That depends on this formula basically, right? So this formula talks about how gradient descent optimizes the weight in a deep neural network. And when we come from 0.8 to 0.7, this is called the step size. So how much you are decreasing or increasing your weight. So here we are decreasing by 0.1. Hence we call this 0.1 as the step size. So in this case, this is my step size. This is my step size for epoch 2. This is my step size for epoch 3. Step size for epoch 4. And similarly epoch 5, epoch 6, epoch 7. But do you think that the step size should be minimum or low when we approach the global minima, and it should be high when we are far from the global minima? So what I mean to say is, if we are starting from here, there has to be a way using which we should drop fast from here, and when we are near to this point, then the reduction or the drop should be smaller, which means the step size should be smaller. How the step size is computed? Using this part of the equation, right? So we multiply learning rate by gradient of the loss, right? So gradient of the loss with respect to weight, and then we compute the new t. So what I am saying in this formula is, weight at time t is nothing but weight at time t minus 1, which is nothing but the epoch. You can say this as third epoch, this as second epoch, and then minus eta by derivative of loss with respect to at second epoch, in our example, what is the gradient. But is there a way we can tune this parameter so that our objective of varying the space size, when I say varying the space size, step size means bigger step size here and smaller step size here, that objective is achieved. That is what we will learn in this video, and the technique is known as ADAGRAD, which stands for adaptive gradient. Okay, welcome to Unfold Data Science. My name is Aman and I am a data scientist. In this video, we will learn about ADAGRAD and RMSProp. Okay, so just keep this formula in your mind. Okay, I am going to omit this, so I am sure you understood step size, right? So just a small modification in this formula for adaptive gradient. So this stands for adaptive gradient. The meaning of adaptive gradient is when the learning rate is optimized using a different formula. So what is that different formula? So this learning rate at time t, right? This learning rate at time t is computed as, so this is actually denoted by hash like this or a dash like this. So this learning rate at time t dash will be learning rate at time t minus 1 divided by square root of alpha at time t plus epsilon. Okay, now what is this alpha t and what is this epsilon? That is what we will understand. So this alpha is nothing but, this alpha can be represented as, let me draw a boundary here. This alpha can be represented as alpha t is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to t derivative of loss with respect to derivative of weight I. So what I am saying here is, every time this learning rate will be tuned, and how it is tuned is, let us say this is your last learning rate. So if we are talking in terms of t, so the learning rate at epoch number 3 will be learning rate at epoch number 2 divided by under root of alpha t plus epsilon. This alpha t is nothing but a summation of a squared gradient of all the previous weights, if you see. So I am saying I is equal to 1 to t, actually this is square, so sum of square of all the previous gradients. Okay, what is the advantage of using this term here? So we are including all the previous gradients and then trying to capture that meaning and feed that meaning in this new learning rate. What is the use of this epsilon here? This epsilon is a small positive number. Okay, so this epsilon is a small positive number. What is the use of this epsilon? Imagine if sometime your alpha t becomes very low, right? We do not want this denominator to be absolutely 0, and that is where, just to be on the safer side, we add an epsilon saying that it should never be 0, because if it's 0, this number will be infinity, and then this equation will move in a different direction altogether. We do not want that to happen, hence we add a small positive number here. So this is how in adaptive gradient, your learning rate will change in every epoch. So in first epoch your learning rate might be, let's say, 0.001. In second epoch it may automatically become 0.00, let's say 2. It is possible, positive or negative, any side movement. Now if this happens, then what is the advantage? So the advantage is on the step size side. So if you see, we are taking all the gradients into consideration when we compute the new learning rate, right? So when all the gradients come together, it tells you at what speed you should move and in which direction we should move, and that is where the step size is optimized. Having said that, is there any disadvantage of this approach? The answer is yes. The disadvantage of this approach is, if you see this term carefully here, right? In this term we are taking all the previous gradients, all the previous loss function derivative with respect to all the previous weights, and we are squaring these terms. There is a possibility that this term might be very high. There is a possibility that this alpha t might be very high. What happens if in this equation alpha t becomes very high? If alpha t becomes very high, then denominator will be high, which means this entire term will become very low. Okay, what happens when this entire term becomes very low? When this new learning rate becomes very low, that means your weight optimization will be very minimal, which means the new weight and old weight will almost be same, and that is what we do not want to happen. We want weights to keep optimizing. The solution to that is an approach called RMSProp. So I'll tell you in summary what is RMSProp, or what is intuition behind RMSProp. Okay, so how RMSProp will work is, in this equation what you see in front of you, the new weight, right? The new learning rate at time t was alpha t plus epsilon in case of adaptive gradient. What will happen in RMSProp is, we will take the weighted average at time t. So what is this weighted average at time t? I am going to write a formula here. So I can say weighted average at time t is equal to alpha, which is a tuning parameter, multiplied by weighted average at time t minus 1 plus 1 minus alpha summation of I is equal to 1 to t, derivative of loss with derivative of weight at time t whole square. So what I am doing here is, if you see carefully, I am giving the weightage to previous weight, weighted average I can say, and this term was there in the previous adaptive gradient as well, right? So I am giving less weight, so alpha is relatively towards 1. If you take between 0 to 1, let's say alpha is equal to 0.9, then the previous weight will be multiplied by previous moving average will be multiplied by 0.9, and the term which was here before will be multiplied by 0.1, which means we are giving less weightage to the previous derivatives and more weightage to the recent moving average. And this is how RMSProp works internally. This is not the absolutely mathematical formula that goes inside, but this is how we take care of how do we reduce, what will happen in this case is, your denominator will never explode. If your denominator never explodes, because we are giving less coefficient value to this term, right? So your denominator will never explode, which means your learning rate will keep changing, which means your weight optimization will keep happening. It will never, be kind of constant, because learning rate has freeze to change. So this is the intuition behind RMS prop. So just to give you a recap of what we discussed, in gradient descent the problem was step size was same every time, the learning rate was same every time, but we changed the learning rate by using adaptive gradient technique. But there was a problem in adaptive gradient where denominator used to be really large. So to control that, we just gave a smaller weightage to the denominator term here and the larger weightage to the last average weight or moving average weight. And this is how we are able to control in case of RMS prop. So I'm sure you would have understood ADA-grad and RMS prop. So I have discussed all these optimization techniques starting from gradient descent with momentum, SGD, ADA-grad and RMS prop. So I'll bring more topics in deep learning and neural network in my upcoming videos. If you have any doubts, write me in comment. I'll see you all in the next video. Till then, stay safe and take care.